In this course, we're going to go over some basic SQL queries and then do one piece of analysis, and we're going to create one dashboard using Tableau. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do here is download SQL Server Management Studio. But before we do that, we need to download SQL Server Express. So if you type it into Google, you will see the second result I will download is Microsoft SQL Server 2019. And then you just click the download button. You can pick the language which you prefer. And then once it has downloaded, you can open up your downloads folder and double click the download. And we will install the basic one. And you can read through the terms and accept them when you're happy. And then we'll just click install. And it might just take a little while, so I'll pause the video. Okay, hopefully you'll see this screen now. The installation process has been finished. We can, from here, click install SSMS. You could also type into Google download SQL Server Management Studio. It would bring you to this same page. And then here we will click the free download for SQL Server Management Studio. I'll just again pause the video while this downloads. Okay, so now it has downloaded. I'm just going to open it. So from here you will see this. So you can click install. You can change the location you want it to save to, but I will just keep it as program files. Again, this might take a while, so I'll just pause the video. So from here, I'm going to open up SQL Server Management Studio now that it has been installed. And here you should see your server name automatically. It's usually just the name of your PC, but we'll keep the server type as Database Engine, Authentication Windows. If you don't see anything here, you can click the drop down and go browse for more. And if you plus on Database Engine, you can select the server that you wish to connect. And if you do have any other issues, you might want to go to options and you might need to untick encrypt connection if it fails to connect. But otherwise you can reach out to me and I can help you. Now it's been connected. And from here we can open up our search engine and search for Adventureworks download SQL. And you can see there's a Microsoft Adventureworks sample databases. So that's the one we want to. So the one we'll download is the data warehouse Adventureworks DW 2019.bak. So I'll just wait for this to download. Maybe not have to pause it. But we'll leave that there and we'll open up. It looks like it's downloaded. And then from here, we right click databases and select restore database. Then we click device and the three dots over here. And we will add. And then you will navigate to where your downloads folder is and select our Adventureworks DW 2019. Okay, and then from here we just select OK, and there we can see it's been restored successfully. And now we can see on our left hand side here we have our databases. We have Adventureworks. So from here, if we just select the plus icon beside databases, we can see Adventureworks. We select plus beside it and plus beside tables, and these are the tables that we will be querying in this course. And the most common table, for example, I'll just drag this across, is fact internet sales. You can right click any table and hit select top 1000 rows just to have a review of what the table contains. From here, if we want to open a new query, we select the button here and we can start typing our queries that you will learn in this course. If you do like this course and want to learn more SQL and Tableau, please check out my other two courses on Udemy, where I go into much more detail and cover many more topics. So we have the Adventureworks data warehouse installed, and now we can look at the tables. And as you can see in now this AR diagram just has 6 of the tables. They're the more common ones that we will use, but there is many more tables here, and if you plus any table, you can look at what the keys are. So let's look at the dim geography table, for example. We can see that the primary key, if I extend this, is geography key, and the foreign key is dim sales territory. And we can look at a customer, for example, look at the keys, and there is a dim geography foreign key. So this is how the customer table and the geography table would have the relationship defined. And that's an example of a relationship that I did not include in this AR diagram. But if you want to look at fact internet sales and product, for example, which are much bigger tables because they have many columns, we can see in fact internet sales, well, we can see the columns, how many there are, and we can also see the keys here in the columns. But there is a product key, and it is a foreign key. And then in the dim product table, we can see it has the product key as the primary key. So this defines this relationship. So I'm just going to close this diagram and maximize SQL Server Management Studio. And from here, I just want to show you that you open a new query here. But as I said, you can also right click any table and select top 1000 rows, and it will display the first 1000 rows in that table. You can comment out any part of the query by using this button, clicking on it, and commenting out is done by adding 2 dash lines. You could undo or uncomment this using the button next to it. You can also see the shortcuts when you hover over Control and K or Control and U, for example. For execute, you can just select F5 on your keyboard, push it, and then it will also run the query. And one final shortcut that I would use very often is Control and Z. So this will undo a mistake you made. For example, if we accidentally deleted many columns in our query, we can hit Control and Z and it will undo the mistake. Okay, so just before we start querying data, I just want to go over what SQL is. It stands for Structured Query Language, and it's used to store, manipulate, and retrieve data from a relational database. It is used in different types of relational databases such as MySQL, PostgreSQL, or the one we'll be using, which is SQL Server. You can see an example down here of what a SQL query looks like, and this is the type of stuff we will go over in this course. Now let's look more at what a relational database is. So a relational database is a collection of tables of data, and these tables are all linked by a common identifier, or a key. Each table has a primary key, which is a unique key assigned to each row, and this key can connect the table to another. It is known as a foreign key in the other table, and there are 3 ways that 2 tables can be related to one another: one-to-one, one-to-many, and a many-to-many relationship. This diagram shows how each relationship would be displayed visually for the 3 tables. Building, room, and class are the 3 tables. Building to room has a one-to-many relationship, and you can see on the many side it looks like a crow's foot, which is the name of this specific type of entity relationship diagram. Building code is the primary key in the building table, and it is connected to the room table as it is a foreign key in this table. And the same is for room code, which is a primary key in the room table, but a foreign key in the class table. Let's look at the tables we'll be querying in the Adventureworks database. So the fact internet sales table in the middle is the one we'll use the most. And you can see here how it is related to other tables. The customer table, for example, has a primary key as customer key. And customer key is also a foreign key in the internet sales table. which defines this relationship. Primary keys are displayed in bold and foreign keys are in italic. I have added a copy of this to the resources in case you want to view it throughout the course. So next we can start looking at our select and from statement. So every query in SQL needs a select and from statement. Select is used to state which columns you want to display, and each column name must be separated by a comma, as you can see here. The name of the table you want to query from is then entered after from. After this, we can show any conditions we might want to apply. This can be, for example, where the name equals John. We can add multiple conditions by separating them with and. If you want to show every column in a table, you can use star instead of entering every column name. If we want to show data where only one of two or more conditions must be met, we can use the or after the where clause. We also might not want to show data where something is not equal to a value. For example, sales not equal to 0. You can do this by using either one of these. Let's take a look at some examples. This first query will show all customers whose name is not John. The star shows all the columns from the table. You'll also notice that since the first name column is not a value field, i.e. a string, we have to put John in single quotation marks. Let's take a look at this in the database. Okay, so we're in SQL Server Management Studio here. I'm just going to select new query and start typing select star from. Now you can start typing the name of the database, which is Adventureworks. I'm just going to arrow down, enter dot dbo dot, and then you can start typing the name of any of the tables here, and we will want to see dim customer. You can select F5 and it will just run the query. Here we can just see everyone, but we only want to see all customers who are not called John. So we'll enter where first name, and once you start typing the column, I'll go further. Yep, first name, you'll start to see the names of the column. It's not equal John, F5. So that shows all customers who are not called John. Note that this has case sensitive, so it's in single quotation marks, but it has to be shown exactly the same way as it is in the table. Okay, just looking back at these three example queries, the second query here shows the first name, last name, email address and marital status for anyone whose name is John and who is married. The last query here shows the first name and last name for everyone called either John or Rob. Let's take a look at this in the data. Now we'll just modify the previous query that we had, and instead of showing all columns here, the star, we'll just start typing the new column names. So first name, comma, last name, email address, and marital status. Remember not to put a comma in the last after the last column name. And instead of first name not equal to John, we'll just change that to equals John. And put and after, and we want to show marital status equals open quotation, M, close quotation, F5, and then we can see all Johns who are married. And if we want to see just the first name and last name, we'll delete the other two columns where first name equals John or first name equals Rob. Remember to close quotation, execute, and that just shows all Johns and Robs. Well, there's only one Rob. Remember to put first name equals Rob again, because if you do first name equals John or Rob, you'll get an error. So you just have to remember, you need to include the column name in each condition. So in the next section, we'll just do a couple of practice questions on this. The first one, to show all employees with the title as buyer and a marital status as married. And the second question is to display all employees' first name, last name and title, who are either a marketing manager or a marketing specialist. And you'll use the dim employee table for these queries. Good luck. You can hit pause now and then I will give you the answers after. Okay, so just looking in our databases and then our Adventureworks data warehouse and our tables, we can find the employee table under dim employee. So we'll right click this and select top 1000 rows. So we want to see all employees with title as buyer and marital status as married. So we can find here the title. So we will show all the columns and add in our where clause title equals open quotation marks, and we want to find a buyer. Okay, so here's one here. I will just copy this, Control and V to paste and close quotation marks. And we also want them to be married, so, and we can see marital status here on the right side. We'll copy the M, add marital status equals open quotation marks M, close, execute. So this now shows us all employees who are a buyer and are married. And for the next question, we wanted to see all employees' first name, last name and title, who are either a marketing manager or a marketing specialist. So let's remove the unnecessary columns. So we can see title here, first name and last name. So I've deleted all the columns, remove this first comma. So we've first name, comma, last name, comma, title. And let's just remove our where clause to show everyone. Now this is everyone's first name, last name and title, but we only want to see title who are either a marketing manager or a marketing specialist. So what I will do is I will start typing my where clause, and we can find a marketing manager. So we add where title equals marketing manager. But since we want to see both, we will add a or, and we want to see where title is marketing specialist. So here's a marketing specialist. We will copy this in. So this is showing the first name, last name and title of all employees who are a marketing manager or a marketing specialist. Well done if you got those. So in this section, we will look at sum, round, count, and group by. Let's look at sum first. In this example, you can see it calculates the sum of all sales broken down by day. I have also named the column sales by adding an as after the calculation and the new column name. You will notice the group by function after the table name in the query. This must be used for any non-aggregate column you are displaying in the output. Let's run this query in SQL Server Management Studio and order it by the highest sales. So I've just opened up a new query and I will start typing it out. Select, I usually like to enter the from before the column names because you'll start to see the table column names come up first, so I'll just write that in first. Adventureworks.dbo internet sales, and then we'll start to see the column names. Order date. And then we want to use the sum function and enter our column name here, sales amount, as sales. So now if we try to execute this, we will get an error because we need to group this by order date so that it shows the sum for each order date. So group by order date. Oh, sorry. Execute. So now we can see the total sales for each date. And we want to order this by, we can just enter our column name here, sales, descending. Now we've got the day with the highest sales showing up first. Next we'll look at how we can round the result here to 0 or 1 decimal place. Okay, so we'll round the output of this query to 1 decimal place. You can see we wrap the sum of sales amount inside brackets using round. Then we need to add a comma and then enter the value we want to round this to. This query will therefore return the output to 1 decimal place. We could change this value to 0, 3, or whatever you prefer. Let's have a look. Okay, so we're going to round the sales output here to 1 decimal place. So I will just type round, open brackets, then we have the sum sales amount as the first part of it, comma, 1, close brackets, sorry. And when I execute that, you can see it's been rounded to 1 decimal place. Or we could also put 0, and then it's showing the value at 0 decimal places. So rather than summing a column, we may want to count how many records there are. This could be used, for example, to count how many sales there are each day. For this, we would use count and enter the column name we want to count in brackets. We would want to use a column which is unique to the row here for sales, so we will use sales order number. You can see with this example, it is very similar to the sales query in the previous video. Now we are counting how many orders there are for each day. Let's look at this in SQL Server Management Studio. So I've just opened up a new query here, and I'm going to paste in the query you saw from the slide. So again, we are grouping by the order date because it is a non-aggregate function, and counting how many sales order numbers there are per day. So when I execute this, you can see each day it says how many sales we had. We could also add in a where clause. So we want to see where the order date is greater than or equal to, let's do 2012 0801 for example. So that just shows all orders after the 1st of August 2012. So now we're just going to write a short query and get some data that we can bring into Google Sheets, and we'll make a chart from that just to see how sales are compared to the average value of the amount of sales for each day in December 2012. So to do that, we're going to use the fact internet sales table. So I'm just going to select the top 1,000 rows just to have a quick look at it. And what we want to bring is the order date. So I'm just going to delete the rows that we don't need. So we want the order date, the sales amount, and the sales order number. And from that, we will count the sales order number to get the sales, and we will sum the sales amount to get the sales value. So I've got the sales amount and the order date. Now I just want the sales order number. So there it is. Okay, so we just need to separate each column with a comma. So first I'll just bring all this data, and now we have all the sales order numbers, the sales amount, and the date. And from here I'm just going to bring the date to be the first column. So I will just Control and V, Control and C, Control and V, that one. And then we want to just remember our comma here. We want to count the sales order number, so I will just do a count, open and close brackets, and we'll just name that as count of sales, and we will sum the sales amount as sales. We'll name it sales value, and since we've got two aggregate functions here, I need to remove this first comma. So we've order date, count of sales, and sales value, and we just need to group by the order date because it's a non-aggregate function. Group by order date. And now we have each day, how many sales there were, and the total value of all those sales. So we only want to see it for December 2012. So to do that, I need to add a where clause, and we add where order date, we'll do a greater than or equal to 2012 1201 and order date less than or equal to. So the date field needs to be in quotation marks, and it's going to be less than or equal to the 31st of December 2012, and that will bring us all our 2012 dates for December, how many sales there were, and the sales value. So now we want to, I will just Control and A and copy with headers, so that means it will include the column names. And we're going to bring that into Google Sheets. So you can just Google Sheets and then go to Sheets. You may need to be signed into Google here, and it will open up a new spreadsheet. And we'll just name this Adventureworks Analysis, and then I'm going to paste the data we just copied from a SQL server. And now we have three columns: order date, count of sales, and sales value. I'm just going to change this data type so that it removes the times. So I just do this here, and we'll just show it as a date. And then, so we want to get the average sales value for each day. So we'll add a new column here, and we'll name it average sales value, and we just equals the sales value divided by the amount of sales for that day. Google Sheets has suggested this autofill, so it's going to do the same calculation for each cell. And now we can see we're going to just change this to show it as dollars. We'll do the same for sales value, although I'm not going to visualize the sales value field. We just needed it to create this calculation. But what I want to do then is we can highlight all our columns and insert a chart. So it's initially not going to look how I would like it to, but we can change it over here. It has selected a combo chart, which is how we want to visualize this, but we're going to remove the sales value. And in Customize, we can show these bars on a separate axis so that they don't look so small. So we go to Series and we show count of sales, and we want to show this on the right axis. So it's showing how many sales there were each day on this side and the average sales value on the left side, and that is represented by this line, but it's also shown in the legend here. So now we'll just make this look a bit better by, I will just thicken this line so that it's a bit clearer to see. 4 is usually a bit too thick, so I usually go 3. And then, from here we can just change the color of the bars. Just edit the chart. Again, in series, we just need to select what we're changing. In the fill color, we can just change it to be a bit lighter. Maybe we'll change the color of the line to be orange. And that's it. So the reason I wanted to do this is you can see that after Christmas, you can see how many more sales there are, but how the average value of each sale drops so much. So it suggests that lower value products were being purchased after Christmas, or maybe there was a sale, because that is very common that there's sales in Boxing Day. And I think it could require further analysis, and we could actually join the product table and look into which products were being sold around this time. And from here I might just tidy up the chart a little bit by, you can notice that it's given the title is wrong, so I'm just going to remove this. You can see it in customize, and then there's an option chart and axis titles, and we'll just change the title to show what the chart is showing, which is sales in December. I'll do count of sales in December. And average sales value in December, and we'll just center and bold this chart, and I can just move it, and we can change the name of this count of sales to be, I'll just change it to amount of sales. So that will change it here, and then we have, now it just looks a bit better. It's easier to understand. So if you were talking this through in a presentation, you could just explain that the average sales value drops after Christmas whenever the amount of sales grows. So I hope that was useful, and thanks a lot for working through it with me. Next, we're going to look into Tableau. Hi there. Hopefully you are getting on okay through the course, and well done for making it this far. We are about to work with Tableau and create a basic dashboard and publish it online. Tableau is a great tool to learn and has become so widely used by organizations as a data visualization tool. If you want to learn more, check out my other 2 courses. This one covers SQL and Tableau using the same Adventureworks database that we are working with here. My other course is all about Tableau, and you'll create these stock and cryptocurrency dashboards from scratch while learning more advanced Tableau topics such as parameters and calculated fields. Enjoy the next section, and you're welcome to change any formatting of the charts and the final dashboard to visualize it how you would like. So in this section we're going to use Tableau, and we're going to build a short dashboard. But first we'll just get our data that we're going to use for the dashboard, and I'm going to use the same query that we had in our SQL section. I'm just going to add in the sum of the cost so that we have the cost of sales as well, and we're also just going to change the date filter to display all of 2012. The column name is total product cost, so we'll just do a sum of our total product cost, and we'll just name it cost of sales. And since it's an aggregate, we don't have to group anymore. So now we're just going to take all this data, Control and A, copy with headers, and we're going to paste it into a new spreadsheet in Google Sheets. So here it is, and I'll just name this Tableau data. No, I just spelled it as data. Okay, so now we have our data. In the next video, I will get you to install Tableau Public and then we will connect it to this data. So we're going to download Tableau Public onto our desktop. Now I've just typed into Google Tableau Public, and you will find the public version of Tableau that we'll be downloading. So when you click into it, you may need to create an account. So I do have a profile, but if you set up a profile, you can download Tableau Public from here. So yeah, if you go create, download Tableau Desktop Public Edition. So this is the free version. Okay, I'm not signed in. I'll just sign in and then I'll be able to download it. And then when you're signed in, you'll just see this page. So you can download Tableau Public, select your region. So I just put New Zealand, and then, but you obviously would have to select your own region and then download the app. And then you'll just have to wait for it to download, and then you should see it on your desktop. And then from this page, you just, if you want to read the license terms, you tick I have read and accept the terms, and then you click install. I'll just pause the video now while this installs for me. Okay, now that it has been installed, I've opened up a new worksheet, and you can either connect to the data up here on the left, or I normally go to data source, and then you might have to select more on Google Sheets, and then it will open up a browser for you, which is where you'll log in to your Google, and you need to allow access, and then that's it for the browser, and then it will take you to where we saved all your files on Google Sheets. So I'm just going to select the most recent one where we copied our data across, and then you click connect, and now it's just going to connect to that data. Okay, so now it has connected to the data, and you can see the data here, and then there is one sheet here, and you can see on the left hand side each column that we had in our data in Google Sheets. So in the next video, we'll start creating charts with these columns. So I'm just in our first sheet here, and we're going to make our first chart, which is our dual axis chart showing the amount of sales in bars and the value of the sales in a line. So we just drag any of these columns into columns and rows here, and you'll see that it will automatically calculate or create a chart, but it won't always create the one you want first. So if you right click the date field here, and we'll just change the formatting to show month and year rather than just year, it's going to show each month and year, as you can see. It's a bit wide. And then what we'll also bring across is we can bring another one to rows. So we'll bring the sum of the sales value. It automatically aggregates this. You can change it in measure if you right click it, but we want the sum. So to get a dual axis chart, you just right click the second field here, and you'll see there's an option for a dual axis, and then it will bring both charts into the same one. And on the left hand side under marks here, we want to show the sales as a bar chart. So you do that by, you can see we have the options here of which chart we want to show, and now it's going to change the sales. The sales value, will keep it as a line, but you can see we can change it to another one if we wanted to. You'll also notice the right hand side here displays the sales value, but we want it to be in dollars. So to do that, we just right click the sales value field on the top here in the row section, and we go to format, and on the left hand side, just in the axis, you'll see we can change it to currency. We'll go custom, and we'll just remove the decimal places. We could display it in thousands. Yeah, we'll display it in thousands. And lastly, we'll just change the colors of the bars and the lines. So to change the color of the bars, we want to select the sum of sales section here in the marks area, and then we'll click color, edit colors. We'll just make it a lighter blue. So you need to click on the sales and then just select the blue. Just go a little bit darker. And then for the sales value, we'll make it maybe a lighter orange, and we'll also make it a bit thicker, so we can do that in this. Oh, sorry, that's the bars. Just Control and Z that, and then we'll go to the sales value here. We'll change the size. We'll just make it, yeah, we'll do it like that. Okay, so in the next video we'll just do the line chart and the bar chart showing the cost of sales. So next we'll just create a monthly cost of sales bar chart. First I'll just rename this sheet, and I'm just going to name it sales dual axis, and then we'll open a new sheet here by just clicking the plus icon, and I'll just rename this before we start as cost of sales. And this one will be pretty straightforward. We'll just drag order date, same as before. We'll just change it to month year, and we'll bring in our cost of sales, and we'll just change it to a bar, and that is it. We just want to change the color as well, just make it a little bit lighter here. So that's our cost of sales bar for now. I will add a new one which shows net profit. So we'll just name it net profit. And for this we'll need to create a calculated field. And to do that, you just need to click the drop down arrow here, create calculated field. And this is just like a calculation that we would be doing, like, and all we will do is take the sales value minus cost of sales. So that's all. You'll see they will start to show the column names. So sales value minus cost of sales, and you'll see it will say the calculation is valid. So I'll just change the name to net profit, apply, and then it will show up here. It says equals hash. That means it's a calculated value field, and that's net profit. So we can bring this into the rows, and we'll bring our order date in to columns, just change it to month year, and then we have the net profit, and we'll just keep it as a line chart. We will change the color to be orange, same as before. We'll make it a bit thicker, might go a little bit lighter in the orange, and then we can add data labels. And to do that, you just click the label field and show mark labels. Again, it's showing a integer value. We want to change this to a currency, so we'll right click net profit format, and we'll just change it to custom currency, no decimal places, and this is the axis, so this is just changing the axis. So for pane, same again, and then we have our labels displayed. So now we'll create our two cards showing count of sales and net profit. They need to be in two separate sheets. So we will, we'll add two sheets here, and we'll just name them. We'll name the first one sales card, and the other net profit card. And we'll just do our sales card first. So for this, all we do is just drag our sales value into text, and it's going to show the sum. And we will, we'll not do the sales value, we'll do the count of sales. So 3397. We will need to create a header showing count of sales. And to do that, we just need another calculated field. I'll just name it sales title, and we just open a double quotation mark and name it count of sales, close quotation mark, apply, and then we'll just drag that into columns, and then it's going to show that as count of sales. We'll just hide our field labels, and we'll format these whenever we're creating our putting it all together in our dashboard. But we'll just do the same now for net profit, sum of the net profit, and we need to do the same. I'm going to duplicate this, so you can do that just by right clicking it and duplicate it, and we'll just rename it net profit title, and we just edit it and just change this to say net profit, and then no, brought the wrong one, net profit title, and there, we'll just hide our field labels, and that's our cards. So as I said, we want to format these, make them a bit bigger and center them, but we'll do that whenever we're actually putting it together in our dashboard. So now we're going to put all these together in one dashboard. So beside the add a sheet icon, you can see there's a new dashboard one. So we'll just click that. It looks quite small, so we'll just change the size here to automatic, make it a bit bigger. And now the first thing we need to do is drag in a blank object. So it's like a pane that we start to bring our sheets into. But I'll bring in 4 sheets, but first we'll bring in our objects. So now we're splitting our pane in 2, but we'll split them again. So now we're splitting the bottom half in 2, and we'll do the same to the top. So now we have 4 panes, and we can just drag our cell dual axis one in first and delete the other pane. So it's brought our measure names to the bottom, but I'm just going to drag this up to the side, and we can hide the title here just by right clicking it and unticking the title. I think it's pretty self-explanatory what that is for. And then what we'll do is we'll bring our net profit into the bottom right here, and our cost of sales just beside it. And then we can we'll just change this to net profit. I'll just make it bold and center it, and we can do the same here. I'll just change it to monthly cost of sales, bold and center, and this will be count of sales and sales value by month, bold and center. Okay, it's already looking good. So the next thing we'll do is we'll just bring in our cards. We've got our sales card and our net profit card. So we'll just right click it and format it. We can make the header maybe 16, the pane 16, and then we'll right click this, format. We need to we'll do this in the sheet itself. So sum of net profit, we'll format this, and we'll just make it size 16, and then we can just center that in the alignment. I'll do the exact same here. then you can go to sheet. You can just see there's a little shortcut here. Sum of sales, we'll format it. $16, and again we'll just center that. So that's our cards in the dashboard. So now we'll just change this to say fit entire view, and then it will just make the card fit inside the whole pane. And we'll do the same for the one above. Fit entire view. I think I'll just hide these titles, so you can just right click them and hide them. So the last thing we'll do here is just bring in a month filter, which we can change to show adjust sales, and all these charts will change depending on the months that we select. So I want to show it on the left hand side of these cards, so we're just bringing another horizontal object here. We'll make it a wee bit smaller, and then I'll just right click any of these charts and we'll bring in the filter month, year, and it's going to automatically put it there. Sometimes it wouldn't now, and you would have to drag it over, but we can see it has. We can just change the title here to say month, year. We'll just bold and center that. I might just make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so now if we select some of the, well, it's so as you can see, it's only changing it for the one chart. So we want to actually make it work on all our charts and our cards. So to do that, we'll just go to the sheet again that it's working on, and you can see up here in the filters, it shows the order date. And we just apply this to all worksheets using this data source. And then you'll see now it shows up in all of the worksheets. And once we're in our dashboard, then now it fits in all of them. It removes July, June, May. But then I'll just select back to all. So the last thing, if you wanted to just publish this to Tableau Public, and you can log in from any browser and show it, you can do so just by saving it. File save to Tableau Public as, and we'll just name it Sales Dashboard for Adventureworks. And then it will, once you click save, it will save it and open up a Chrome just to show where your dashboard. So it's opened it up in my other screen here, and you can see now we can remove our filters and just, we only want to see, say, the first quarter. So it's showing January, February, and March. So thank you for watching this video, and I hope you liked it. Please hit the like button if you did, and you can see my other courses if you want to learn more SQL and Tableau. Check out the links in the description. Thanks.